Hey you guys, this video is going to be on solving equations that involve fractions. And in the textbook, they call it fraction busters. So I want to talk about a way to solve this problem other than having to get a common denominator for all of these. So I'm going to talk about a way to basically get rid of all of the fractions in one step. So looking at my denominators, I have 4, 2, and 6. And the common number that all of those go into would be 12, because 6 times 2 is 12, 2 times 6 is 12, and 4 times 3 is 12. So what I'm going to do is, instead of getting a common denominator for all of these, I'm going to multiply each one times the common denominator. And I just write it as 12 over 1 so that the fraction format matches up. All right, so once I have this, I'm going to see how I can reduce these before I actually do the multiplication. So if I ignore this, right now I have 12 over 4, and 12 divided by 4 is the same as 3 over 1. So this is a 1, and this is a 3. So then from this term right here, all I have to do is 3x times 3, and that gives me 9x. Okay, now on your calculator, could you do 3 times 12 and then divide that by 4? Of course you can, but it might just be easier to reduce first and then multiply across. Okay, if I look at the next one, so it's a minus sign. So 12 over 2 reduces to 6 over 1, and then all I have to do is 7 times 6, and I get 42. So again, could you have done 7 times 12 divided by 2? Yes, you see that you get the same answer. And then over here, 12 over 6 is 2 over 1, and then 5 times 2 is 10. And then at this point, I just have to solve this equation. So add 42 to both sides, and that's going to give me 9x equals 52, and then divide both sides by 9. So when I type in 52 over 9, I do get a decimal. So I'm going to change that into the simplest fraction by hitting math, enter, enter, and that is the simplest fraction. Okay, so the answer to this one is 52 over 9. The rounded version, or the approximate, would be, if I round to the nearest hundredth, 5.78. Okay. All right, another example would be, let's see here, so 3x over 2 minus 8 over 3 equals negative 29 over 12. Okay, so if I were to solve this one, again, instead of getting a common denominator, I'm going to find the common denominator and then multiply each term by that value. So 2 and 3 can both go into 12. So I'm going to say again for this one, the common denominator is 12. So I'm going to multiply this one by 12 over 1, this one by 12 over 1, and this one by 12 over 1. All right, and then I'm going to reduce just like I did in the last one. So I'm going to ignore this. 12 divided by 2 would be 6. So 3x times 6 would be 18x. All right, copy down the minus sign. Ignore the 8 for now. 12 over 3 is 4 over 1. 8 times 4 is 32. And then over here, 12 on top and 12 on bottom, those reduce to 1. So all I have left over here is negative 29. Okay, so then from here, I'm going to say all of my variables are on the left-hand side. So I'm going to add the constant over to the right side. So that's 0. Negative 29 plus 32 is 3. And then divide by 18. So it's 18 times x. So to get x alone, I have to divide. And then 3 over 18 reduces to 1/6. So my answer for this one would be 1/6. And then the last example that I'm going to talk about is one that is going to have x in the denominator. So it is 4 over x plus 3 over 2 equals 5. Okay, so if we're looking at this, we want to figure out what is the common denominator. Well, I have a 2 and I have an x. So I would say that the common denominator is 2x. So I'm going to multiply every term by 2x over 1. Okay, this one I'm not going to put over 1 because 5 isn't written as a fraction, and so I don't need to get the numerator and denominator to match up. So again, we'll go through and reduce what we can. So I'm going to ignore the 4 for now. Now 2x over x, the x is reduced to 1. So then all I have left is 4 times 2, which is 8. Get this in focus here. All right, next one, again, I'm going to ignore the 3. 2 over 2 is 1, so all I have left is a positive 3 times x, so plus 3x, equals 5 times 2x is 10x. All right, I notice that my only constant is on this side, so I'm going to bring my variables to the right-hand side. So 10x minus 3x is 7x, and then divide by 7 to get x alone. So in this one, my answer would be 8 over 7. So hopefully that helps you and gives you a good idea in how to solve problems that involve fractions and problems where x is in the top, or like in this example, where x is in the denominator.